Riding the line of fun difficulty and enraging frustration is such a monumental task that developers often alienate a large player base in the process. As every player's tolerance for BS, that stands for bullshit, is on a spectrum. On one end, you have people who love frustrating and infuriating mechanics. They also coincidentally like the smell of molding oranges and burning hair. And on the other end, you have players who can hardly stand the frustration of my blown out microphone. Get over it! But most players exist in this middle slice, so the goal of a developer making a challenging game is to live right on the far edge of this quadrant, forcing the average player to push themselves to their limits without breaking their morale. So today we will discuss games that try to ride this line, and we will also ask the question, what color do you think this shirt is? I would say that it's an olive, but a lot of people have been saying that it's a northern forest green. Before understanding how to perfectly balance difficulty, we must first ask why that difficulty is necessary in the first place. Is it maybe because difficulty is tied to an inherent vice that allows us to enjoy self-harm because we view ourselves as scum? Hey, that's a great question, but I don't remember asking. Video games at their heart are a combination of art, fun, and improvement. They use these things to both teach us lessons and drive the player towards progression. Difficulty in most games serves as a power creep, proving to the player that they have the ability to steadily improve as challenges surmount. Often even easy games will ramp up the challenge in certain sections to allow the player a chance to acknowledge their growth, because without this feeling of improvement, a game can feel hollow and purposeless. Even a game like Mario Odyssey offers up extreme difficulty a la carte, so that you can choose when and where you want to stretch your skills. Now that we know why it is done, we can start to look for where it is done. Probably over here, in the timeline of my video. Some games have perfectly tuned themselves on a difficulty scale, making it so that you will become very angry, but allowing you to taste victory. This taste is what makes the difficulty so addicting. In Dark Souls, seeing a boss's health bar on its last leg pushes you to go for another try, and then another try, and then another try. And then, as that proximity creates a closer tie to the idea of success. This carrot dangling in front of the player is often done with bosses, but we see it done using lost resources too, as dying and leaving all of your collected money is an incentive to get back there ASAP, as to ensure the safety of your monetary progress. But good and fair difficulty extends far past the incentives they offer. One of the most important things to ensure when creating a hard game is that the player is always allowed a reprieve, a place to go back to ready themselves or get better before continuing. In Enter the Gungeon, you get the opportunity to see the boss door approaching, meaning that you can go explore every room of the dungeon if you feel the need for better equipment or more life. This makes entering a boss room feel like a choice to progress, not a need. And many games implement this. Elden Ring takes this to an extreme, as you can go anywhere in the game world up until a certain point, as there are hardly any gatekeeping bosses, meaning that defeat always feels like ill-preparedness rather than unfairness. Some games though cross a line for me, and I feel as if I have a relatively normal BS tolerance. Heck, I watched all of the Book of Boba Fett. I have a high BS tolerance. So what do they do that alienates me from completion? One big problem that some games find themselves having is unmovable linearity. I feel that if I get trapped, there is no way to progress but bulldozing through. Cuphead has this for me more than any other game, as I feel locked in on a boss until I beat it. I know that I can get more money for upgrades, but these upgrades often feel like an analogous move, and in turn this vastly diminishes my improvement progression. I feel stunted and endlessly frustrated with no outlet. This feeling can also come from a game creating a fog, meaning that you don't get the opportunity to see your progression. You might be mere steps from completion, but not knowing turns you away from a will to care. For me, I lost interest in playing Tunic so fast because I became lost and lacked the will to figure it out. The game is cryptic and mysterious, but I felt that the nuggets of information were too few and far between. Some of this may have been due to it being a Game Pass game, but I will talk about that in another video. Creating the perfect difficulty for a video game is a near impossible task, as every player has their own line for what is and isn't grounds for frustration. But there are a few helpful ways to mitigate it and turn that frustration into a will to improve, using your difficulty as a tool for fun rather than a weapon to artificially lengthen your game. Difficulty both in life and in video games is a necessity, as it makes the easy parts more enjoyable. So I'm gonna look forward to playing more difficult games, and if I get frustrated, I'll just quit, because that's what normal people do.